What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Gil, and today I wanted to do a fun exercise where, since Season 4 is coming right around the corner, and I thought, hey, I play Feng, I have a vested interest, let's do a little bit of brainstorming, a fun activity to see whether how right or how probably horribly wrong I'll be come Season 4 patch notes, because I want to propose some changes for Feng, some reasonable changes that I think could actually happen to him, and I'll also propose some really nutso changes, greedy changes, we'll call them at the end of the video. So let's just, without further ado, get to my proposed changes for Feng in Season 4. One of Feng's main issues is, when he punishes you, with his primary punishers, let's say his 10 frame punish, 1, 2, 2, into back primarily, or while standing 4, his 11 frame while standing, it leaves you at a ginormous distance. And we'll also talk about QCF 1+2 on block. That's his primary pressure starter, his mid pressure starter. It leaves him at such a distance where the opponent can just do one backdash into OS low parry, and you beat all of Feng's options. You just do. You just beat all of his options. So I think a simple solution to make Feng's punishment actually, well, obviously better, but also just work, would be to leave you closer on hits. So let's look at while standing 4 as our example. Since Feng has bad while standing punishment, his primary while standing punishment is either 11 frame, and then we jump to 14 frames for 26 damage and +1, which isn't very good, or we jump to 15 frames for a launcher, which is awesome, but basically with Feng it's 11 frames and then nothing until 15 frames. So it's especially important that his while standing 4 is pretty good, because that's all he really asks for most lows. So let's show you this. While standing 4 into back 4, that's Feng's fastest mid. And if I just hold back, I just avoid that. And also, let's see. Let me show you what the actual distance is between Feng and his opponent when he hits you with while standing 4. You see that? 2.4. That's wild. You can hardly get any pressure off of it. But anyway, she saw it with back 4 there. If I just hold back 4 just whiffs. But then you can make it even spicier. Feng has one of his fastest sort of tracking lows, well, it's basically tracking lows, is down back 3. So we'll do while standing 4 into down back 3, but what I'll do is I'll do a backdash into low parry. Well, I fucked up. There we go. And then if we do both, oh, I gotta get hit. See, I'm just... You just hold back and go into low parry. You don't even... Excuse me, you don't even need to backdash. So, while standing 4 needs to leave you closer on hits. That just needs to happen. And then same with 1, 2, 2. That's Feng's 10 frame whiff punish. 10 frame punish in general. It leaves you at a large distance. So Feng's major mix-up out of it is back turn 1+2 for a chunky mid, or down 3 for a launch punishable low launcher. And you'll see what a backdash does to it. So I just backdashed there. Backdashed. Backdash. So the issue is his down 3 out of back turn needs a clean hit to launch, and if it doesn't get the clean hit, it's actually minus. And if you just backdash, you're plus anyways. So that's already a big issue. You know, Tekken is a game about punishing small mistakes, so your 10 frame punisher is incredibly important, and Feng not being able to get not being able to get meaningful pressure afterwards is quite an issue, to say the least. But anyways, I just want to keep this video short. Buff while standing 4, buff 1-2-2 on hit, leave them closer. Then there's another issue with Feng. Let's see. Whoa. QCF 1+2. There we go. Oh. I suck at recording when I'm live. Okay. Oh, whoops. That's how you record. Okay, don't mind me. I've played Tekken before. So, this is a +4 mid. It's awesome. It's a little bit like a Mishima axe kick. And the reason why I want this to be buffed is because of this. This Feng's major mid is down forward 1, as it is with many characters. It just whiffs with a single backdash. There we go. And Feng doesn't even have a particularly great backdash. And then if you do other mids that are slower, those are gonna whiff as well. Quick lows are gonna whiff. The only thing that players can't avoid is back 4. But we'll talk more about back 4, but back 4 is a -9 mid. 12 frames, it's awesome. I'm not going to underplay it, it's awesome. But Feng loses his turn entirely. And the reason why I want this buffed is because A, it just needs to be better, and B, Namco has tried to make it better actually in this season actually. In the patch notes for Season 3, they reduced the pushback on block for that hit, but they took away 1 frame of advantage, which is fair, you know, it leaves, you know, if it leaves you closer. But it's just not enough. And that's why I think maybe they're going to buff it again, because they obviously had their eyes on the move already. And yeah, you know, I think those are very reasonable changes. Let me look at the change list right now, at what I want to have changed. Another quick buff. I want Feng's Pokken to be stronger, more dangerous. He doesn't really live on combo damage as other characters do. His Pokken would be a really cool way to, really cool direction to move him, make him more poke oriented. So right now, this is down 4, deals 7 damage, 0 on hits. It's a great low. It really is. But just 7 damage isn't quite enough. So if we could have that buffed by either 2 or 3 damage, have it either deal 9 or 10 damage, I think that would be quite reasonable. And yeah, it would be just a nice little tasty buff for down 4. Let's see. Then I wrote down, fix the hitbox of While Standing 3. We don't have an example right now, but While Standing 3 is Feng's 15 frame launch. Some lows, Feng just flies over. He doesn't hit them. The animation looks like he goes pretty far, and he does go pretty far, but there's something about, like, low-profiling characters where he just flies over them. Primarily, Lost Dragontail, for example, is one of them. Let's see. A beautiful buff would be to increase... You see that? You see that? I'm hitting his hand. Increase. Wow. Increase the range on Feng's back 1+2. This is 13 frame punish. It's one of his primary whiff punishers. But it used to have more range in Tekken Tag 2. I think a beautiful buff for Feng would be to increase the range of this. It just doesn't cut it quite enough in real matches where you're really moving back and forth and the distances are so minute. And especially if you compare it to his Tag 2 incarnation, where he could very reliably whiff punish with it. And in Tekken 7 actually it got buffed on block. It became -19. I know, wow, it's so good on block. But in Tekken Tag 2 it used to be -24, -25, I believe. So if they wanted to, buff it in the range but nerf it in the block frames, that's totally fine. I'll take that alchemy give and take any time of the day. Oh, also, if we're gonna talk about shoulders having more range, his blue shoulder is infamous. Is infamous for just like, wow, that was nice. For sometimes it's hitbox. Like, it seems like you're in range where a regular shoulder would hit, but a blue shoulder doesn't. It's really interesting. It's primarily in those scramble situations. I don't know what is up with blue shoulder's hitbox, but in these scramble situations, it's just sometimes it just has like half the range of a regular shoulder. That might be a bit extreme, but it just noticeably has less range of a regular shoulder. So having his rage drive shoulder just at least be consistent with regular shoulder all the time would be a great fix. Let's see. Oh, here is my perhaps controversial change that I would like to see, but I think it's realistic and it's needed for Feng. We're gonna go into greedy changes pretty soon. Feng's back 4. It's either -9 or a tip range is -8. So back 4 is a 12 frame mid. It's a very important tool for Feng. It's one of his main tools. It keeps you in check. You can kind of imagine what a 12 frame mid does for a character. It's tracks both ways, but it needs to be stronger in some way. In older Tekkens, it used to deal more damage and have more range. That's a direction I would like to see this go, because on block it's -9. Feng loses his turn entirely. And it's a decent 14 damage. 14 damage alright. Not too much. But if it could get buffed in range at the very least, in damage, in plus frames, and leave opponents closer on hit. You see this? 2.40. It's the same as while standing 4, but it's less plus on hit, so you don't get any pressure off it. So that's another thing. This is another one of those Feng moves where you just don't get pressure after you make the correct read, punish your opponent accordingly. It just doesn't really continue your offense in any meaningful way, or any way. So I listed off a lot: more damage, more range, more plus frames. Obviously all of that, which I think Feng could get away with, because I think every character needs a couple signature moves that they are built around. Some moves that are just better across, like similar moves that other characters have. Your character has like the best version of it. I think every character just needs a couple of those, that really define their game plan. And I think back 4 is a great candidate for that. But if you force me to pick only one of those buffs, I would ask for more range on it. So yeah, more range on back 4. And then here, this is a Gil buff. No Feng is asking for this, but I want it. I want it so bad. This is a personal buff. You see this? This sick move, 3 tilde 4. I say sick, but it's hella garbage. It's 34 frames slow. It's linear. It's only really useful as an obscure combo ender sometimes for very specific OP. But it also has one of Feng's coolest combos. You see that? It's one of Feng's coolest combos, man. So I want it to be more usable. And I think it being 34 frames slow is absurd. I think having it be 34 frames slow is just absurd. It's not usable in any context. It's not usable in neutral. The only way you can sort of use it is against Geese or Eliza, who have those grounded hitting fireballs, and Feng can just fly right over them. But the thing is, it's 34 frames slow, so you can't even do it on reaction. So my main buff for it is really to just buff it by... This sounds wild. If you buff any moves startup frames by 10 frames, you'd have a busted move, probably. But I think even this at 24 frames, it will only start being useful. And I'd like it to be useful, because it's just a really cool move, and who doesn't want to see more cool moves in the game, you know? And you can still get floated out of it, still linear. But yeah, that'd be just a very cool change for Feng, and that's just a personal change of mine. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with the big brain, big dick Feng changes, okay, that are too greedy. That I would love. I would kiss my Harada statue goodnight every single night if we got these changes. But first of all is revert the Kenpo nerf. For those that don't know, in Season 1, Kenpo could block in 14 frames, which made it very powerful. But I think every character, like I said before, needs to have some signature moves that are just really powerful, that really set them apart from other characters. And for Feng, Kenpo is one of his most unique moves, and I want to champion characters' unique moves. So I think, did I even finish my train of thought? Anyways, in Season 1, it blocks in 14 frames, but then in Season 2, they nerfed it to be able to block 19 frames. They nerfed it by 5 whole frames, so it's easier for you to get launched out of Kenpo. And my eye itched right there. So that could be just straight up reverted. That'd be amazing. Feng would just be the premier keep-out character in the game, which I think would be a really cool way to push him. And as I said, that synergizes well with down 4. You can imagine down 4, someone wants to press a button, boom, boom, fuck you, or something like that, you know. So yeah, revert that. But that's my greedy change. And here's my realistic. We need this change, but it's also greedy. Up back 2-2. How many of you have ever seen up back 2-2? Leaves you 2.50 range. So the thing with up back 2-2, it's 15-16 frames, but it has ever so slightly more range than hop kick. Or it's just on par with hop kick, honestly. It's on par with hop kick. So up back 2-2 is this very niche Feng move that no one uses, because it also has a duckable high. It's a trash punish, because as a punish, it leaves you +9. That's fucking sick, but it leaves you at 2.5 distance away. So what I would like to see with this button to happen is, right now it has no usage for Feng. Hop kick is just as fast, is more rewarding, has the same range. So hop kick is just always the better option, 15 frames. At the wall, it does a wall splat. At the wall, you still want to use hop kick, because you just get a guaranteed hard damage. You know, at the wall, this distance is a lot better, of course. You see. So that's his only real. Oh yeah, it's also -10 while it's a duckable high. And it's trash in every way. So what I would like to see, a whole rework of this move. If we could make up back 2-2 14 frames. So Feng has a 14 frame punish. A niche 14 frame punish. Increase the damage slightly, because if you compare it to other 14 frame punishes, like Zafina gets like 49 damage. Anna has one from the top of my head that gives like 40 something damage. Other characters can launch at 14 frames, like Brian, what's the anime boy's name? Lars. So if this could just become a 14 frame punish, deal 40 damage, leave you closer. But if it leaves you closer at usable frames, +9 would be too crazy. So I think make it +4, where it makes down forward 1 uninterruptible, because Feng's down forward 1 is 14 frames. So you hear that, Banco? Up back 2-2. 14 frames, 40 damage, +4, a lot of 4s, +4 on hits. And just make it a usable move for Feng, because right now it's useless. And that's a thing I don't like in Tekken 7, is just useless moves. I like every move to have some sort of niche use, but this just doesn't. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, those are my proposed changes for Feng. Hopefully this video wasn't too long. Hopefully it was interesting at the very least. And let's check back in a month, see how wrong I am. but how right I am in that this is what Feng needs. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are amazing. Thank you very much. I'm alt-tabbing right now. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.